Hello, Potato. The longest week in American history has finally come to an end. A week so long that it feels longer than the entirety of the pandemic, which itself feels longer than the entirety of American history. But it's over now. We've made it to the weekend. Let us relax with a little bit of weekend magic. Now we're going to deal with two categories of items today. Keys and pins. And there will be a little, aside from the magic in the mail, there's going to be a little fail in the mail. A little weekend tragic. But we'll get to that. We're going to save that for the end. We're going to start out with the good stuff, the weekend magic. We're going to open things up with the keys because that's what you do with keys, I guess. So we'll start out with the biggest set, which is a finally arrived, my Disney Studios keys. Yes, you can maybe able to see here, there's a dent in the box. They weren't shipped very well. They were shipped in a bag, not a box, so they have a dent in them. I kind of wish I had bought them at the Disney store instead of ordering them online. Had I known the store was going to have them, I would have just bought them there. But at the very least, I can take solace in the fact that I didn't pay $60 for them at the anime show. But it's not just our studios keys here, which are lovely. We have our Walt Disney Animation Studios, Pixar Animation Studio, Marvel Studio, and Lucasfilm Limited. But like I said, those aren't the only keys we're looking at this week. We also received last week's Frozen Fan Fest key. And not just that, but, yep, the Black Widow key also arrived. Unfortunately, also in a box. I kind of wish it had been opened up like the Frozen key here, because I kind of want her to hold it like a Keyblade. Although, really looking at her hands now, I don't think she could. She's kind of just meant to hold that staff. So let us take a closer look at these keys. Here we have a closer look at our Studios keys. They're all very nicely done, and aside from the box having this dent in it here, they look very nice. We have our Walt Disney Studios, kind of done reminiscent of the Sorcerer's Apprentice Mickey with the stars and moon on the D there. Silver shaft, and of course the castle as the, was it the teeth? It's the teeth of a key, right? Moving on to Pixar, we have the Pixar ball there on the D, and of course the Pixar Studio logo, and Luxo Jr., and again the Pixar ball as the teeth. And then we have ones that I don't think we've seen before. Well, we haven't seen Marvel before, which basically looks to be kinda... No, it actually doesn't. Let's go back. So on the D, it looks like we have some imagery from the comics themselves. Some stuff, just some frames of comic books. Then we have, looks like some of the Avengers logos here on the shaft itself. So we have Black Widow. I think that's Captain Marvel there. Definitely Iron Man, Spider-Man, Captain America, Vision, Hulk. It doesn't look like Thor to me. I don't know what that one is. I should know what that one is. Maybe it's with Guardians. I want to say that's a spacey one. I don't remember what it is. You'll know. You probably know better than I do. And then for the teeth, we actually have like a little city. I guess that's maybe New York, since that's kind of where the Marvel Universe is centered. And then finally, we have, for Star Wars, the Lucasfilm key, which has the Death Star emblazoned on the D, the Empire and Rebel logos, Vader and Luke, and then just kind of a square teeth, which I think is kind of how the Star Wars D key was as well. Can't see it super well. It's kind of in shadow, but yeah, they look like they're about the same. And I guess that's one of the what is it? Stanchions. That feels like looks like one of the poles, like in the Death Star in the first movie. But they're very nice. Oh, the back of the box has words. It has words. We have to read the words. Starter key collection. So I guess this is a way for people who have missed the last 2 years of keys to get into key collecting. Unlock new adventures with this Studio Key Starter Collection. Guests have been unlocking their imaginations with the Disney Store's opening key ceremony since 2010. Today, the studios have joined forces in this set to create keys inspired by the Disney Store's daily ceremony. Each key design features the iconic Disney D across the top, with a unique stem and key end themed to each studio. With this set, every door is yours to open. I wouldn't try opening any doors of these. They're plastic. They will break. Also, I don't think we're doing the key ceremonies anymore for the time being. But it's a nice idea. And they seem to have made them in a really... Maybe they're an open edition. I don't know. They don't say limited edition on them or limited release on them. And I think they're still up on the Shop Disney website for sale. So if you want a set, you can go and grab them. They are not priced on here, but I want to say they were $30, maybe $40 when I bought them. They were less than $60 because I know that's how much they were charging at the anime show. Next, we have our Frozen Fan Fest key, which I guess is basically the same key they did on Shop Disney UK over the summer, only ours has a different tag, and it has the US Disney information on the bottom, as opposed to the UK Disney information. I think this is the first key I've received that's actually come in a plastic bag. They've either always come open or in a box, and I'm guessing it's because all this glitter on here. Let's open it up and take a look at it. You know, it's a shame they don't have any Frozen toy box figures that I can have wield this like a Keyblade. But maybe down the road, maybe down the road. So, yep, here we go. Here's our key out of the bag. So you can look at the tag, hashtag Frozen Fan Fest. Did you watch that new little short on Disney Plus that kind of shows what Olaf was doing when he wasn't with the rest of the characters in the original Frozen? It's cute. It's not the best thing in the world, but it's cute. So our Disney Frozen key, oh, it's a little bent, isn't it? Well, it did come, I think, in a bag as well. It's very glittery, got just kind of a cold feel to it. It is your basic Disney key with the castle teeth and just the normal hilt and D. It's overall a pretty unremarkable key, if one is being honest. But if you want to try to collect them all, you kind of have to deal with it. And this one actually was free with purchase, as opposed to the other keys in this week's video, where you had to actually buy them. This one did come free with purchasing. Well, actually, I got a couple of them because I purchased these. I got this one with a purchase of a couple of Disney Toy Box figures, which we'll explore in a later episode. And then I got another one with an item at the end of this video, which we'll discuss there. So I think maybe this is the one that came with that item at the end, because that would kind of explain why it's bent, and that'll make sense when we get to it. And our last key is our Marvel Black Widow one to celebrate the movie that will come out sometime eventually, maybe. As you can see, it's basically the same design as the Studios Marvel key. We have, I guess those are maybe meant to be spider webs. I don't think they're cartoon panels. I don't know. We have some weird little red spidery designs there on the D. We have, looks like the Black Widow herself running between a bunch of Black Widow logos. And I'm guessing the gold highlights are meant to evoke the imagery of her gold stinger bracers. See there? There's a lot more gold on that more expensive, like $40 doll, which I'm pretty sure is the same doll they sold from the original Avengers movie, or maybe one of the Iron Man movies, that I didn't do very well and ended up being clearanced out. And I kind of regret not getting it at clearance because it is a 12-inch figure, and I do like my 12-inch figures. But maybe when they clearance out this new one, I'll grab it. And then, of course, the teeth is that city again, just like on the Marvel Studios key. So I'm guessing as we go forward, all the Marvel keys are going to be this same basic design. So that's something to look forward to. It's interesting that we picked Black Widow to do first. I know because she has the movie coming out eventually first. It just seems like, when you have, I would argue, more iconic characters than her that you could have made one off of. But, I mean, I suppose they'll get there eventually. Everybody will get a turn as long as we keep buying these keys. This was another one that you had to purchase. I don't think it's available on the site anymore. But it's a nice key. It's just kind of plush tagged in there. And this one also came improperly packaged, so the bottom of the box is a little banged up. But I mean, on a shelf or something, I don't think that's going to show. Using Black Widow as a segue, let's move into the pins. We first have this. Yep, I haven't even opened it yet. Let's open it now. It also came shipped in a bag, along with the Black Widow key. It is presumably what put the dent in the Black Widow key's box. But I haven't looked at it yet. I saved it to look at it with you. We can look at it together. And that's not instilling me with a massive amount of confidence there. I didn't notice that before I took the plastic off. But let's hope that's what the packing is for. It's protected it. And everything will be fine. And yep, it looks like everything should be fine. Let's take off the plastic coating here. And yes, we have the Black Widow. There's a little ding here. The Black Widow limited edition pin. It's a limited set of 2,300. You get 4 pins in it. We've got Black Widow herself as the biggest pin. Yelena, the Red Guardian, and the evil Taskmaster. But other than this little dent up here, which isn't that noticeable, looks like they survived pretty well. Do we have any little bent at the corner there? But I guess it's okay. Does it say what number? Let's open them up and take a close look. Because yeah, they do open up. I like the look of the packing here. It is just cardboard. It's not like a felt or anything that they're placed in. Does this pop out easily? Oh, there's foam behind it. Is there a certificate? There is not. I was kind of hoping it would be like that Lady Tremaine doll, and it would tell me what part of the 2,300 it was. Does it say on here anywhere? I don't see it. But let's take a closer look at the pins themselves. Here's a closer view at our Black Widow pins, taken out of the box still. And yep, they're very nice. Ultimately, I'm going to say there's not anything too spectacular about them. And I think as of this recording, they're still available, even though the size is only 2,300. I don't think they sold that well, because again, much like with the key, I think the Black Widow is kind of a weird one to do kind of a product blitz with. I know they probably want to do it because it's one of only like 2 really strong female characters. It's only the second female-led movie after Captain Marvel. But I don't know that the Black Widow has that kind of following. They are not Disney pin trading pins, though. That's interesting. They do say pin trading on the box, but they don't have the Mickey backs. They have normal backs. That's interesting. I wonder why that is. Now, when I looked at these online, I kind of thought this was going to be almost more of like a felt material, like you'd put rings into, with them slid into the grooves. But yeah, it's just cardboard. I don't know why I would have expected anything else. But they're very nice. We've got some nice facial shots of each of presumably the main characters from the film. I'm not really familiar with Red Guardian, I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of familiar with Yelena. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I've only ever seen it written. And of course, Taskmaster is the bad guy. And I'm mostly familiar with him from Deadpool. He was in one of the Deadpool storylines at one point. There are our Black Widow pins. Next up, moving down in stature, but not in importance, we have the D23 Limited Edition 65 Years of Disney Theme Park Pin Collection. This was a limited edition, I believe, of like 3,300. So bigger edition than the Black Widow pins, but you have to be a D23 like gold member or family member to get them. And my wife is, so we got them. It's got 6 lovely pins from around the world of Disney. From Disneyland, we have the Matterhorn, we have Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, and we have Sleeping Beauty Castle. And then traveling afar, we have from Disneyland Paris, the Ratatouille Adventure, or Ratatouille the Adventure, I think it's called. From Epcot, we have Spaceship Earth. I guess it's from the Walt Disney World Resort, but I think it's in Epcot, isn't it? I've never been there, and likely I never will. I would kind of like to go, but I don't see it happening. And then finishing off in Hong Kong, we have their Enter to the Haunted Mansion, the Mystic Manor, which is a very cute looking ride from what I've seen in videos. Again, never been there, probably never will. It's a lovely set, much like our Black Widow ones. I don't think it actually says what number you received, which is unfortunate. It just says it's limited edition. It doesn't even actually say what the edition size is on the box so that I can see. But I believe it was 3,300. So let's pop the lid off of that and take a closer look at those. Here's your closer look at our D23 65 years of the Disney theme park pins. And interesting, if you flip them, you can see a little bit. There's pictures of the actual attractions on the card behind the pins. I guess if you take them off and you want to put them back, you will know where they go. And these are very nice pins. I want to say these are nicer than the Halloween pins. These feel more like they're in line with the normal Disney trading pins. And while, unfortunately, the Haunted Mansion doesn't have its own pin, the ghosts do still appear, so there's representation. And representation is important. We also have Dumbo up there, and Peter Pan, and some random popcorn. And I think it's a Mickey pretzel. Could be wrong, could be something else. I'm sure it's food, though. But they're very nice pins. We have the Yeti coming out of the Matterhorn. We have the castle, which I'm kind of surprised they didn't put Tinkerbell on it, because they always don't put Tinkerbell flying around it in movies. We have the Millennium Falcon about to enter battle with a TIE fighter. That ought to be a real short fight. We have the little rat from Ratatouille on top of his ride. Some sort of spaceship. I don't know, it's Spaceship Earth, though. Is that like a glider? I don't know. I don't know what that is. I've never been on that ride. And of course, the monkey from Mystic Manor. I suppose, since I've never been on this ride either, but I've seen videos of it. I should see. I think I've seen videos of this too. I should find a video of that ride, so at least that I'm familiar with it. And if I ever talk about it again, I won't sound like I don't know what I'm talking about. While we're already zoomed in, let's look at this pin next, because it's tiny. It is a tiny little pin. It looks tinier because the card itself is too big for it. This is a limited release pin. It is part of the Disney Parks Wishes Come True Blue Color Collection. It's celebrating the 40th anniversary of the partnership between Disney and the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And apparently, if you buy any of the items from this line, they do donate 25% of the purchase price, up to $500,000, to Make-A-Wish, which of course I'm sure is tax deductible. And I may have mentioned before, I'm kind of a sucker for Sorcerer's Apprentice Mickey, so naturally my wife ordered for me this Sorcerer's Apprentice Mickey hat. And although I guess it's more reminiscent of the Sorcerer's Apprentice Mickey hat you can buy in the parks, but it's very glittery and sparkly, just a single back. It's a very small pin. I don't think it's available anymore, but it's part of that line of Spirit Jersey stuff that came out a couple weeks ago, I think now. And they had shirts and some masks, which we ordered the Disneyland masks. But it's a nice little pin. There's nothing much to say about it. It's just a nice little glittery pin. And hey, if 25% of it went to donate to Make-A-Wish, all the better. Going from tiny back to larger, you may remember that in past videos I've shown them off. I am collecting the pins from this year's Midnight Masquerade series. We have the one doll of Lady Tremaine, and that's the only doll we really plan on getting. But I am trying to get the whole pin set. So, this week arrived Series 3 of 6, Ursula. We've got our Ursula pin and our mask pin, which again, I believe looks nicer than the mask that actually comes with the $120 doll. And much like the other ones, they're double backed, and again, you can see the whole series back here. Let's take us a look at those. Here's our close look at the Ursula pin, and I think I do like these pins. This is a very nice one. You got the frame around her portrait is very tentacly, almost kind of Lovecraftian. And then the same with the mask. We have tentacles kind of swirling around it, and hair, and a gem at the center. I think they've all had gems in the center, haven't they? It's nice. They're fairly heavy, chunky pins, and for $30 they ought to be, right? Double pin backed, and again you get a preview of the rest of them. There's only 2 more to go after this one. and the set's complete. And of course, the next ones came out last week, and that's a story. Okay, so I told you at the beginning of this, we did have some weekend tragic. We did have a fail in the mail, and it came in this bag. Now, yes, obviously I've ripped the bottom of it myself, but that rip right across Mickey's face there, that's the way it came. Now, what would you have put in this thin, fragile, weak plastic bag? Something surely that doesn't matter that much, like a shirt or something that isn't going to be able to take damage easily from having absolutely no packing material at all. And to show you with how much care they packed this item, this is my packing slip. That is the way it came, wadded into a ball. Yep, they took some real care when they put together this package. So what could they possibly have given me in this? Well, of course, it was a limited release pin set. Yep, there is Series 4 of 6, Yzma. As you see, she has been nicely crumpled. One of the pin backs has actually fallen off the back and is just kind of rolling around loose in the package. And the pin is sticking through, so be careful picking it up. And indeed, I don't know if you can see this really well from this angle, the pin has actually pushed its way through the plastic. Let's take a closer look at these. Here are our poor, sad, mangled, destroyed Yzma pins. Yep, they came in that bag with a frozen key, which I think maybe why that frozen key has a bend in it. And yeah, they look like they've had a bad day. They have had the ever-loving kicked out of them. Now the portrait pin still seems to be okay. I don't see any particular damage to it. But if you look really closely here at the mask's nose, you'll see it's silver. It's not supposed to be silver. It's supposed to be the same color as the rest of the mask. That's because apparently at some point it got ground against something. Yep, this set, these pins are basically ruined. You can't even take them out of the package and put them in a display. So naturally, if you follow me on Instagram at Void of Intelligence, you've already seen pictures of this. Because I kind of put Shop Disney on blast for this. And yes, I know, hashtag first world problems, hashtag entitled customer. I feel like I have put up with a lot of disappointment from Shop Disney this year. And I know some of it was unavoidable, but some of it was avoidable and they just didn't. But this absolutely takes the biscuit. This is too much. And so I kind of put them on blast on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And to their credit, on both Facebook and Twitter, they reached out to me with an apology. And I gave them the order number, and then they responded with this. Yeah, hold that there for a second. You may want to pause it if I don't keep it up long enough. They offered me $6. Yep, they'd refund $6 for a $30 pin set that is 50% ruined. They offered me 20% or a $10 code for future purchase, or I could send it back to them. How lovely. Well, I wasn't having that. That's not acceptable. 50% of the product was ruined. This is not good. And I did not get abusive, but I did say that that was simply not good enough. $6 does not make me, as a customer who you cannot replace these for, whole. So they came back with another offer. $6 plus my shipping refunded. Well, given that I don't believe for a second it took $6 to mail me this. It didn't come by UPS or FedEx like every other pin in the series has come. It came by the post, which is why it looks like this. Because I guess, right now they've been a little busy focusing on ballots and not so much on focusing on other mail. So that's, again, I can also just return the whole thing to them. So, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to return the whole thing to them. They can take their $6 and they can stick it. And you know why? Because I went to my local Disney store, the place I'd much rather be going to buy these things from to begin with, but you can't be certain if they're going to have them. Plus, they release on Tuesdays and the stores don't get them until Saturday. But I went there the other night, and by God, they had 2 sets left. And I got one. So yes, I have, in proper condition, Series 4 of 6, the Yzma pins. And I don't know if the people at my Shop Disney store watch this or not. I know they do watch some YouTubers who go to that store. I don't know if I'm one of them or not. But if I am, thank you to all of you there for having these. I know you didn't have them for me, but I'm glad you had them for me. So let's take a look at them now. We've got the Yzma portrait. I'm not a fan of Emperor's New Groove, but I like the frame on this. I like the way it's just kind of disjointed angles, fairly awkward, a little off-putting, but very nicely done. The portrait, again, is very detailed like all the other ones in the series are. And then we have our mask pin that doesn't have a silver nose because it hasn't been ground into the pavement. And if you look on there, kind of neat, the outer edge of the mask is a cat, which of course is what she turns into in the movies. Spoilers if you haven't seen a movie from 20 years ago. And again, they're double-backed, and there's only one more week of these to go. A couple days after this video is released, they will be releasing the Hades pins, and with any luck, I will finish that collection. And if not, guess who's going to be lining up at the Disney store next Saturday morning? So there we have it. That's going to wrap up this week's videos. We have some lovely pins, some lovely keys, and while we had a bumpy road to get there, while we had some tragedy, some fail, some of what we frankly probably have come to expect by this point from Shop Disney, although honestly reached a new level for me, we had a happy ending. We got our Yzma. The set is so far complete. The Evil Queen pins have been ordered and hopefully will be on the way. And there's a story there too. Just very briefly. This is the first time since Star Wars Day the waiting room has failed me. I was in that waiting room at 10 minutes to 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock California time being when they release these new limited release items on the Shop Disney website. They don't put them in the app anymore, which is unfortunate because people kept saying, oh, well, I just got them through the app, but I didn't have to wait. And of course, when you do that, they go, oh, we need to fix that. And they did. So these items don't even appear in the app anymore. So I waited in that waiting room from 10 minutes to 7 all the way till 7:30 before it finally let me in to shop. Up to now, I haven't waited more than like 10 minutes, again, except for Star Wars Day, to get into that shop and buy what I wanted. And by the time I got there, it said the Evil Queen was out of stock. And so my wife goes in, gets right into the waiting room, and after a few attempts is able to not only order the Evil Queen pins, we get a shipping notice like an hour later saying they're on their way. So for next week, we'll have them. So again, I guess hopefully a happy ending there too. But I'm assuming that Shop Disney has blacklisting me from buying some of these items because I took the little survey they pop up on their website periodically and I gave them a 2. And I told them and I only gave them a 2 because they finally took Merch Pass out behind the shed and put it out of its misery. Otherwise, it would have been a 1. For kind of all the reasons you've heard me complain about over the last 7 months. So we won't go into those anymore right now. Let's end on the happy note that we do have the Yzma pins in acceptable condition. And all is right in the world of my Disney collection. So while Shop Disney may not have brought the magic, the fine, wonderful cast members at my local Disney store did, and to them I will forever be grateful. And I'm also grateful to you for watching this. I hope you found it at all interesting. If you did, please give the video a like and make sure you're subscribed to the channel so that I can see you in the next video.